at the worst damage. 3 homes literally collapsed on a hillside. The folks all got out with their lives. Now, what you are looking at are 3 homes that were completely wiped off their foundations and swept down the hillside. One of the homeowners is joining us now. His name is Ron Douglas. Ron, tell us what happened this morning.
Well, I woke up and there was this shaking vibration, and the next thing I knew, the house was on top of me. I had no idea where I was, and then it took me about 10 minutes to climb up. So that's about it. I can't believe I walked away from this.
When we look down, we see the destruction, total destruction of your home. We're looking at a miracle here that you folks got out alive.
Yes, and the other 2 neighbors too. I think it's a real miracle.
Describe the earthquake. Describe having literally the walls collapse in on you.
Well, it was at night, so I guess everybody 30, and I saw the ceilings moving, and the next thing I knew, there was a tree branch right next to my arm. So it took me about 10 or 15 minutes to climb out, and I think a mattress was on top of my head. That's how I got saved. So that's about the extent of it. I don't remember too much after that. Just thank God I'm alive.
Absolutely amazing. Now, as will happen with these sort of situations, heroes emerge. This is one of them. We understand this man pulled at least 1 victim from the home. Sir, your name, and tell us what happened.
My name's Andy. When it happened, all the power went off, and I ran outside, and I came down, and I went looking for people trapped in the rubble I could see, and I was screaming out, and I heard someone say hello, and I just followed where the voice was, and I couldn't see them, but it was a lady named Pamela, who's one of my neighbors, and it took about an hour until the fire people arrived, and we just kind of kept, she was going into shock, I think, and she was cold and shaking. We just had to try and keep her moralized and try and move some of the debris away.
Wilbur?
Through no fault of their own, we must say fire response time's been a bit slow. We are seeing severe damage throughout the Studio City area, but nothing of this magnitude. Simply a few bricks thrown down here, a newspaper stands down. But this, we are told by law enforcement officials and fire department officials, is the most severe damage in all of North Hollywood and Studio City. 3 homes literally wiped off of their foundation, swept down the hillside. By the way, the homes beyond just below this were saved by the large tree, which kept the home from falling on top of it.
Paul, everybody's accounted for, though.
Yes, they are. 2 dogs, unfortunately, 2 family pets have perished in this mishap.
Paul, when you were talking to Andy, who helped the woman that was trapped, his neighbor, did we find out if she was, they were able to extricate her and she's all right?
Yes, the neighbors are all right. We arrived here just right after the emergency crews arrived. One was taken to a hospital in serious condition. The rest are out and about and doing very well. More or less, some rather walking around in the state of shock.
Well, that's good news for their family and friends that see them and hear them, but let's make sure we give the address of where you are so that people know. Where are you, Paul?
Well, we're on Buena Vista Road, Buena Park Road, excuse me, Buena Park Drive in Studio City.
Okay.
This is Chopper 2. We're looking at a live shot down there. I believe this is the area of, yes, that's Rinaldi, where we had the...
That's right. It's Rinaldi in the vicinity of just above the 118 freeway. What we had was a gas main explosion, and it literally blew up. And when it did, it took the life of at least 1, maybe 2 people, and also blew apart 5 homes. We're expecting the worst at this location. We also understand that Plummer and Rinaldi, another fatality incident there. I don't know if it's an accident. We're getting a little there we go. Getting a little back off on this microphone here. Anyway, there you can see the explosion. A gas line ruptured, and when it did, there was, this is where the epicenter was, just about in this vicinity. When it did, it took out the gas main. Gas built up underneath the street, eventually blew, exploded, and took at least 5 homes with it.
Let me ask you,
Go ahead.
Bob, did this gas main explosion occur right after the earthquake, or was there a period of time when there was a fire and then it exploded? Because if there was a period of time first, perhaps some of those people got out of those homes.
It was a period of time, from what our understanding is. It was not readily, it wasn't like an instantaneous explosion. It took a little time, but it blew with tremendous force, and there you can see the graphic pictures showing exactly the kind of force we're talking about. The scary thing is that's not the only location, and as we pan over to the left, what's the location on that mobile home park? San Fernando Road just above the 210 freeway. Let me pan over here to the left.
Is that the Olive View mobile home park that you...
Yes, that's right, and that's where we had a number of gas leaks, and those homes caught fire, blew up, taking surrounding homes with it. Now the fire department, the only way they've been able to fight that fire has been with the help and the aid of fire dropping helicopters, fire department helicopters coming out of the Van Nuys area, also from the county's heliport over at just down the road over here near the Burbank Airport area, Whiteman Airport. They have a heliport there, and they've been using it as a place. Okay, Bledsoe. It's Bledsoe and San Fernando Road. That's where the mobile homes are burning. Also, during your aftershocks from Chopper 2, what we're seeing in these canyons is a lot of dust and dirt rising into the air, and there's a lot of people on some of these canyon roads that are finding themselves really being barraged by boulders. So you need to be very careful and stay out of these narrow canyons where possible. Also along Pacific Coast Highway, we're going to be flying out there next. We've had major landslides, and also one of the more worrisome problems is the unstable hillsides working all the way from Hollywood Hills out to the Northridge area, and we've seen homes collapse. In fact, along Sherwood Place, we saw a home slide down. You saw those pictures earlier, and just terrible pictures, and people are not getting any assistance from the fire department, and the reason is the fire department is stretched beyond their limits. Off-duty firefighters everywhere are now pouring into their stations, but here's a big water main break, and this water main that you're watching right now, this services the Van Nuys and San Fernando Valley, and as you can see, you're going to have water interruption. Now let me pan over here. This reservoir right here is so far has been stressed, has been under a lot of stress. However, it stood the test. It's still standing, it's still sound. That's the good news. We haven't seen any
chances. Mother Nature is fickle with us. She has shown us time and time again that she can outfox us, and she is showing us again here in this interchange this terrible, terrible damage that no matter how much you prepare for me, I can fix it for you if I want to, and she has done it with this earthquake this morning.
Now this is not, if you're wondering, this has not been a great quake today, and technically this was not even a major quake. You have to get up to a reading of 7 to be a major quake.
And over 7.5, I believe, to have a great earthquake, which there have only been 3 in the history of California, San Francisco being one of them. This would be a large earthquake, but it doesn't make any difference. As we saw, the Landers quakes were bigger. The Landers quake was 7.6. It's obviously a magnitude 1 point higher than this one, which is 100 times more shaking given the logarithmic way that the Richter scale works. But this one happened to be centered right in a very populated area in the San Fernando Valley. Landers out in a very unpopulated area out in the north.
And different type of soil. And when you're centered up on basically pure granite, you get a whole different effect than when your earthquake goes rattling through fairly soft territory. And I will make a prediction that that's where we'll see the damage patterns today too. Down in the lowlands and up in the hills, it won't be so bad. We're looking at a live picture in Hollywood now, where there's an enormous amount of brick on the street, and John North is standing by. John?
And I'm at Hobart and Hollywood Boulevard, and this is one of the many masonry buildings that's up and down Hollywood Boulevard that had collapsed. The facade has collapsed. There's an apartment building about 2 blocks from here that were 4 stories on one corner have gone down into the street. There are no reports of any injuries. When I came by
a few years ago, when the freeways collapsed, we sometimes don't know until well after the fact just how serious it really is, because the freeways fall, you know, the elevated freeway falls onto a lower roadway, and sometimes there are vehicles trapped beneath it.
That's true. And we may not be done. Again, we may have more tremors, no matter how small they are, that could actually shake that foundation even more.
Just incidentally, this is a freeway overpass that had been talked about before, in fact, during the San Fernando Valley quake of 1971, as being one that people were not comfortable with. That doesn't say that it was absolutely dangerous, but it was one of the intersections that was talked about as a place that you perhaps don't want to be when a big earthquake strikes, because it looked like one of those that could be prone to a problem, and it turns out that this is a problem. This is the 14 as it passes the 5 freeway right there at that intersection. Again, the Antelope Freeway.
Well, you could see it. Wow, did you see that just a moment ago? Our viewers could see where it actually just looks like it broke in half.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've been focusing on the 5 and the 14, which is this location, and also on the 10 freeway. We've seen pictures. We had reports earlier in the morning of another collapse on the Simi Valley Freeway. We haven't seen pictures from Simi Valley yet, but we had a report of a collapse on the Simi Valley, as well as a number of cars that had been abandoned on that freeway. Apparently it was such a frightening moment out there. Some people just got out of the car and ran.
But at first report, no cars involved when that freeway section in Simi Valley fell. Some information that we had gotten earlier was that these were the only fatalities that had been reported early on. We hope that it remains that way, but the fatalities that were reported seem to have come from this area, from this particular collapse at the 14 and the 5.
Okay, we have left
that's our Michelle Holden.
5 and the 14 for a moment, and I'm not sure where these live pictures are coming from. It is clearly, though, a residential area. It looks like apartment buildings, and there you can see some of the damage.
Is this Sherman Oaks that we're looking at?
Or is this up in the San Fernando Valley?
We'll find out presently exactly where our cameras are, where this area is.
But apparently an apartment building, multiple unit apartment building that has fallen down. Is Michelle Holden able to hear us yet?
9565 Reseda in the city of Northridge at an apartment building that has literally collapsed. All 3 floors have collapsed. What you're looking at behind me is firefighters trying to get into a building, stop gas leaks, and get people who are in here injured. We've been talking to victims. They are in shock. It is absolutely devastating out here. They tell us that many of the people out here in this building are elderly and they are handicapped. Some of the younger people went inside the building and tried to rescue some of the elderly people, and we have heard tragic stories. One couple told us they went into the apartment of an elderly woman. They could not get her bedroom chest off of her. So firefighters are trying to get in and find this elderly woman and rescue her. Young people have been in trying to assist fire crews to help people get out of here. People are just standing around, devastated, in shock. Some of them are able to talk about what they went through. Tell us how you were able to escape.
I didn't know we were on the first, because I felt it fall, but I wasn't sure that we were on the first floor because we live on the 2nd floor, and we climbed out the balcony. We jumped off the balcony. Yeah, we climbed out the 1st, which is now the 1st. Yeah, we were lucky that we got down on the 1st, because I don't know how we would have gotten out. We jumped off the balcony right there, and we didn't realize that we were on the 2nd floor, and now we're on the 1st.
What did you see? Did you see other people as you were trying to get out?
No, it was just really confusing. We were the only ones home, and she was on the other side of the apartment, and I was trying to get to her, and like, there was some lady out here. She was laying on the car, and we were under the desk, and we heard the guy next door was calling for help, and nobody would answer him, and then there was a lady up there that was trapped, but they got her out.
All right, thank you very much. We're just glad you're safe. Thank you very much. So firefighters continue here. Gas leaks are a big problem. We talked to one man who happens to work for the gas company. He has been of great help to firefighters because he knew to get into certain areas and help turn off the gas. People are standing in the streets. They are standing on sidewalks. Firefighters right now are inside buildings